you want lunch to actually be your biggest meal. So I know in the Western world, they say, have breakfast like a king, and that should be your biggest meal. But Ayurveda believes that your digestion is actually strongest, Anshu, when the sun is out at midday. So have like a heavier lunch and a lighter dinner. And maybe if you can do dinner like before the sun goes down, that's great.
These lovely ladies, Hansa and Suchita, from Something Holistic. And what I absolutely love about their form of Ayurveda is that it's very relatable. It's modern Ayurveda. It's a whole complete lifestyle. So when I go to my vet and he gives me medication for anything, everything has to stop because something has to be mixed with pomegranate juice, something has to be mixed with milk, something has to be mixed with honey, something has to be, it's so, So I think what you girls are doing is incredible. It's absolutely incredible. So what we've done is we've broken up the chat into Ayurveda for beauty and Ayurveda for hair. Hansa's going to do the first 20 minutes and then Suchita will do the next 20 minutes. Can you talk to us about your personal experience with skincare?
Sure. Skin is something that has been so important in my life because while I was a teenager and I grew up in England, and during my time at university over there, my skin was so awful, Anshu. I had like cystic acne. That it's not just physical, it's emotional too, because it affects your sense of self and your self-esteem and how you feel when you go out. And I think looking back, a lot of what happened was that I was in university, I was studying, I was partying, I was staying up late. I didn't have a regular routine like a lot of college students don't. And so my whole system was out of balance. I was eating carbs in the middle of the night, and I also had a hormonal imbalance. And I think my skin was just a manifestation of my internal health. And it was the stress that I was experiencing. And so while today, Suchi and I want to share some great tips that we've learned and some tricks, I think that we just wanted to spend a few minutes talking about diet and lifestyle because that had the biggest impact on how my skin improved.
Oh, so that'll be fantastic because that was one of the things I wanted to ask you about, what role diet would play and also about food combining.
Just for those out listening right now, I'm just going to say maybe 2 or 3 things that really affected my skin. And the main one was dairy, yogurt and ghee and anything that your body can tolerate, but it's just how you combine it. So there are 3 main things. One was don't have dairy with fruit. You want to have fruit alone. Fruit is easily digestible. And when you mix dairy with it, you're more likely to get gas and bloating. So things like strawberry yogurt, banana smoothies, all of that, try and avoid. And you'll see, hopefully, that your skin will improve. You can have it with like a plant-based milk. So you can make your smoothie with almond milk, and that's okay. But just avoid the dairy and fruit combination. Also dairy with meat. Like I know, I'm a huge foodie, and I know like I love my tandoori food, but marinating meat in yogurt, that also you have conflicting energies. You have a heating and cooling energy. Plant-based yogurt is fine. Regular yogurt and meat will lead to, in Ayurveda we call it amma. It's toxic buildup. So you want to avoid that. And even things like a cheese omelette, because that's like a protein source with dairy, try and have it separately. And please don't just take our word for this, experiment at home, see how your digestion is. But when I did start doing this, I did notice a huge improvement. And also dairy with, the nightshades family. So that's a group of vegetables like potatoes, peppers, eggplant, tomato. They're quite heavy to digest for some people. So just be watchful with that, because if you're loading your jacket potato with cheese and then you're feeling heavy and sluggish after, that's also going to come out in your skin.
And what other lifestyle changes do you think will be helpful for skin? Easy lifestyle changes that one can incorporate?
Sleep is so important. And so actually when my acne cleared up, I then started suffering from a bit of rosacea. And even now, if I get less than 7 hours sleep, I can see it in my skin the next day. So I think sleep is so important. And if you can sleep before 10 p.m., That's extremely helpful, because 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. is Pitta time in Ayurveda.
Yes.
And so your skin has the best opportunity to rejuvenate when you're sleeping by 10 o'clock.
Wow.
And try and have your meals you want lunch to actually be your biggest meal. So I know in the Western world, they say, have breakfast like a king, and that should be your biggest meal. But Ayurveda believes that your digestion is actually strongest, Anshu, when the sun is out at midday. So have like a heavier lunch and a lighter dinner. And maybe if you can do dinner like before the sun goes down, that's great.
And what time do you recommend waking up? Is there something in Ayurveda that recommends?
As long as you're up before 10. Between 6 and 10 is ideal. And you want to have your breakfast then too. But yes, as long as you're up between like 6 and 10, that's ideal.
You have these amazing skin tricks. So can you talk about those?
So in Ayurveda, there are 5 elements. And the 5 elements are divided into 3 doshas. So you've got like the fire, earth, air, water, space. And Pitta is the fire element. So it's fire and water. And so when that is out of balance in your body, you will experience symptoms like insatiable thirst, like you keep drinking but you're still thirsty. You might be more short-tempered. So whereas normally, it takes a while to get you irritated, you're very quickly irritated. You're very competitive. And physically, it'll show up in your skin with, you might get hair fall, you might get rosacea, pigmentation, acne. All of these are signs that your skin is irritated. And what's so clever, Anshu, is that the other Pitta organs, they're all related. So the liver is another Pitta organ, and you'll often see that when someone has skin issues, their gut is often having problems too. So for example, you might have diarrhea or you might have constipation, and that has to be treated, which is why we talked about food. Suchi is going to come on soon and show you this amazing Hansa 1 massage. But I'm just going to show you very quickly something that I do every day. I normally do it, because my skin is sensitive, I normally do it with jojoba oil, Jojoba. And so I studied aromatherapy, and I learned that this is the oil that's closest to your skin's natural sebum. So it doesn't make me break out. So she's going to explain the ones she uses, but I do it with that because you want your skin to be moisturized before you're massaging it. So you would just take some oil or moisturizer, apply it all over your face, to your neck area, always in upward motion. And then you're going to do your chin. You're going to do your chin like this, and then drain downwards, because it's going to be like lymphatic drainage. So any water retention or swelling, it'll help with that.
Okay.
And then what's really great is if you go up here, and then you take your thumb behind your ear, and right like near your temples, in line with your temples, but behind your ear, there's a point there, there's a marma point, Anshu. And if you press lightly for like even 15 to 20 seconds, there's a nerve there that controls your facial muscles. And so it works to prevent wrinkles. So it's a good one to just massage gently.
Fantastic, yes.
Yeah. And then when you do, so I'm conscious of like my frown line. So you want to always do that upwards.
Right.
Just like that. And then our lips get thinner as we age. So you always, again, want to go inwards just to keep them plump.
Okay.
Yours look great. But I think like just massaging them every day. And then you're going to go up here. And then I have like lines on my forehead, the worry lines. You want to go up there.
Right.
And you can also go across.
Okay.
In Ayurveda, all our facial massages, we're always going upwards. And you can do that here and here. The only thing is you don't want to do that right under your eye, because the skin here is so sensitive. So you're going to use your ring finger, because that's the lightest pressure.
Right.
And you're just going to tap the oil or the moisturizer in.
Okay. Fine.
Yeah, just like that. Exactly. And you can even do the sides gently for crow's feet. And then we normally end the massage by putting our hands over our ears.
Oh, that's
it just shuts down external. It's amazing. It's so simple, but it's so grounding. So that's something I just love doing, and I do that massage every day. I wanted to show you this, but you literally pop this in the freezer, and so it's like an ice ball roller, and it's fantastic under your eyes. You can't put too much pressure because of the shape, which is great, but it's so soothing. I also, if I have a headache, I put it on my temples. It's an ice ball roller. Yes, exactly. The only thing is that sometimes, you know, if you use ice directly, especially if you're prone to rosacea, you can trigger those blood vessels. So with this, it's a safer way of doing it.
And rosacea, always sensitivity to the sun. Is that right?
It is. It's sensitivity to the sun. It's when it's more like redness. It's the visible blood vessels that break. And again, it ties in beautifully to Ayurveda, Anshu, because the same things that the Society of Rosacea recommend that you avoid for rosacea are the pitta triggers. So it's going to be the caffeine. It's exactly the same. It's caffeine, it's stress, it is hot temperatures. Like if your pitta is imbalanced, you never want to work out in the middle of the day. Sauna, steam rooms, all of that triggers rosacea. So you want to avoid that. But one thing that's actually good for rosacea, now that we're talking about it, is azelaic acid. Azelaic acid. But azelaic is basically, it's an acid that's found in grains. So it's found in grains like barley, like wheat, like rye, and it's anti-inflammatory. So it's used for rosacea to calm the redness, but it also unclogs pores and exfoliates, and it can be used to treat acne scarring. So it's a great product to keep in your closet. Here, can you see that?
Yeah, I can see that. Thank you.
It's by a company called Amritam, and I love that they use all natural products. But this is a mask, and I think we've tested a lot of products, so we're very careful what we're recommending. But this suits a lot of different skin types because it's basically, it's got neem, it's got basin, which is chickpea, but it's very mild. If you see, it's just like a sand powder, but you can combine it according to your skin's needs. So last week, my skin was feeling dry, so I combined it with yogurt and honey. And it's a beautiful texture, and I just kept it on for like 10 minutes. If you do have like pigmentation, which people often get from the sun, you combine it with tomato juice. That's a great one to combine it with. And so you can, and they actually even have a list on the back on what you can combine it with. But with all the face masks, one thing to remember is as soon as it dries, you want to wash it off. So don't think that like if you keep it on longer, it's going to be more effective or anything like that. But this is another one of the products that we love. And then the other thing that I love is you can get any brand, but rose water is great. So again, all natural. You can use it. I've actually been using it, Anshu, with my children because I will wet like a cotton wool pad and use it as a compress over their eyes. Because your eyes, again, are a pitta organ. And I feel that since we've all been in quarantine, we're having a lot of screen time. And so some of our eyes are dry and burning. So the rose water is calming for your skin. And it's great, you know, even like as an eye mask. Acne scarring. And so one thing that does help with scars that you can use later on is when you have the acne, you can use the tea tree oil, which I think everyone knows. And with the scarring, helichrysum, the other essential oil. Some essential oils you can put directly on your skin, like lavender. With helichrysum, I'd probably mix it in with a base oil. So for me, I would use jojoba, and you can just mix it up, and then you can put it on. I would always test it behind your ear, just to make sure you don't have a sensitivity. If it's other kind of pigmentation, the tomato juice will work. And also, I've heard that papaya is great. So mashed up papaya is very good for pigmentation.
So will you tell us, I know we heard from Hansa about her skincare journey. Why don't you tell us about yours?
So I'm going to talk about two different things. One is mine, and then the other one is my daughter's. So she had terrible eczema by the time she was 1 year old.
Oh, good.
Eczema was just like all over her body. She couldn't even open her eyes in the morning.
Oh my.
And back then, I really didn't. I was not knowledgeable enough in the Ayurveda world, and I
Yeah.
used to like apply hydrocortisone for her.
Right.
Anyway, I think my studies really helped me, and it's helped her. I think the number one thing that I took care of was her constipation. That was, I think, the biggest aggravation was her constipation. So I stopped, and it's intuitive, right? I stopped all dry foods for her. So, for
Okay.
example, crackers, popcorn, basically the traditional like after school snacks, right? Or mid morning snacks that they get at school. So I stopped all of that. I increased warm foods, mushy foods, foods that she could digest easily. And she never had soda, but if you're you or your child does have soda and you're suffering from eczema, soda is another very big cause to aggravate your vata. And I know Hansa spoke a little bit about the
Yes.
doshas before. So
Yes.
vata is a combination of air and space in your body.
Okay.
That's the combination for vata. And especially when your eczema is dry. If you have a combination and you have wet eczema, then you need a pitta balancing diet as well. And so that is reducing spices, reducing caffeine, red meat, anything that generates a lot of heat in your body.
In your body. Okay.
And my journey has been psoriasis. So I dealt with psoriasis for several years.
Right.
And it was on my palms. I couldn't hold anything. If I touched my daughter's skin, like they could feel the roughness. It's clear, but I have to constantly manage it. So in terms of application, what worked for me is, I found a really good cold pressed coconut oil. Mine is from Kerala, but that said, you can get good organic cold pressed oil anywhere in the world. So topically, that was important for me, just to maintain it and to be able to feel comfortable, because it's constant scaling, right? Your skin just keeps shedding. The number one change that I made was I stopped all packaged foods. Everything was, whole foods, whole grains. And then along with that, I followed a pitta balancing diet, which is, what I mentioned before. I won't say I stopped the caffeine, but I exponentially reduced it. Like, I would have my coffee, once every week or once every 10 days. I actually even reduced on my soda consumption, spicy food. I love spicy food. And that said, I'm not saying I took out all the spices because spice is important, but the right spices, right? Like I reduced the red chilies and the habanero and things like that. So it was the caffeine, packaged food number one, and the spices. I was also going through like a stressful time, and stress doesn't necessarily always go away. When you accept the stress, it can aggravate. And so meditation was something that I started. So these were the few of my tips for both psoriasis and eczema.
Now, Suchita, I know you girls do these amazing massages. Do you have any tools for Ayurveda that we could use, like you have jade rollers and the like?
Yes. So it is Ayurveda's version of a jade roller or a gua sha. It's a Hansa wand. So this is what a Hansa wand looks like.
What is this made of?
It's copper.
Okay.
Copper, it's two metals, copper and tin, I want to say, if I'm not mistaken. Mine is from a company called Soumya. It's in India. And I love their wand. So basically what I do is you can use ghee, you can use an oil of your liking. I just personally like this oil, and so I use it. It's again by Amrutam, the same company that Hansa uses for her face mask. And it's their Nari Saundarya oil. So you just take a little bit on your hand and you just warm it, the oil. And then you just apply on your face.
Right.
Once the oil is applied, I like to start with my third eye. So why should you do this, right? I do it every day. I'm obsessed. I absolutely love it. It is really, it actually massages the marma points. It's great for lymphatic drainage. It reduces your fine lines. It detoxifies your skin. I guess these are just a few. I mean, the list goes on. So you start with the center of the head, and you do this in circular motion, and you can do it for as long as you want, 10 times, 15 times. I'm just going to show it to you 2 or 3 times. So you hold it here and you just go in a circular motion, and you do both clockwise and anti-clockwise. Once you're done with that, then you do a zigzag, like a Z on your forehead for your fine lines, right? And then once you're done with that, you go to the end of your temple and you again massage. So this motion is for massaging your marma points.
Okay.
You should just remember that. Next, I like to do the eye, and this is one of my favorites, is you do this infinite shape over your eyes, right? But again, as Hansa mentioned before, you don't go too close. Next is you start at the tip of your nose. Again, massage it, and then you go up on your cheekbone. Massage it, and then you go up on your cheekbone. Next is your lips. At the end of your lips, you massage, and then you go up. And this is where, we hold a lot of tension, right? So then when you go up, and then you can massage at right here, it is extremely calming. The next one is the chin, up the jawline. And then when you go right behind the ear, and this is my second favorite. So my first is the eye, and my second is this point is my favorite. Next is the fine lines, and very similar to a massage with your hands, right? You go in an upward movement. Exactly. And similar with the upper lip and the lower lip. Just go inwards. The next is circular motions on your complete cheek, right? And this actually increases the flexibility of your muscle, because this is the part that will start drooping. So this motion will increase the flexibility of the muscle. And this is again another place where we hold a lot of tension, right? And of course wrinkles, and our neck is as sensitive as our under eye and our hands. You should just do this circular motion. Next is, and I love this one because this helps with of course reducing the water retention and just accentuating like your jawline. So next you go up like this, and then you drain down. You go up, and then you drain down. And then another thing that I didn't mention is that when you go up here on the cheekbone, you can drain down as well.
How is this different from using the fingers for the face abhyanga? How do you get different results?
I do. Actually, I think this is more powerful compared to the hand. And that's just my personal experience, because I always did the face abhyanga with my hands first, initially, until I got my Hansa wand. And my Hansa wand has been pretty recent, maybe 8 or 9 months. And I see the difference.
And also, are there any products that you would also recommend that you think?
So I'm just going to talk quickly about my daily routine. What I do in the morning and in the evening. My evening is fairly simple. But in the morning, I love this brand. The company's name is Sahajan. And it's an Ayurvedic blend. And it's an essential cleansing oil. So when you put it in your hand and you rub it, and it has to be put on dry skin. It's not like, your skin's wet and you apply it, and you'll be like, oh my God, this is so oily. But then you apply it, and then the minute you splash water, you'll just feel like all of the oil has like just drained out, and it's taken out all the impurities. Love this company. It's actually been pretty new for me that I have been using this. And then their toner as well. It's the same company, Sahajan. After that, I use a vitamin C serum, and it's by a company called Soma Ayurvedic. And so Hansa and me, the same products don't always work for us, but this company, their product has worked wonders for both of us. We like to test the same product, so we know, we have different skin types. So we know if we recommend things, we want to make sure. And this has worked wonders for both of us. And it literally it comes with a dropper. You put a few drops all over your skin. Another thing, never put any of the Ayurvedic products straight on your hands. Just put it directly on your skin and then rub it in. So it apparently reduces the efficacy with the hands. And this is just something a sales associate told me at an Ayurvedic store. So it's not like, I've done my research, but since he told me, and, he knew his thing. When he was talking to me with like so much confidence, and he was just explaining all the products that they have. And he's like, never put Ayurvedic products onto your hand because they're all plant-based, they're all natural. And now you're mixing it into your hands oils. Just put it directly onto your skin. And by the same company, Soma Ayurvedic, I use their under eye cream. And I love it because their under eye cream is lavender, moringa, and avocado. And their anti-aging cream, which is aloe vera and saffron.
Okay.
And there's no like preservatives for shelf life. He's figured it out naturally with some tree sap, how to do it. We've spoken to the owner and he's lovely. So that's my day routine. In the night, it's my face wash. But after my face wash, all I do is I put a few drops of, it's called Kumkumadi oil. And it's not only made by Kama Ayurveda, but Kumkumadi oil is like a traditional oil blend, Ayurvedic oil. It's powerful. It's and you can feel it, like it's heavy. So you have to wake up in the morning and wash your face before you decide to venture out and go drop your kids to school or go for a walk. You need to make sure you take it off. And make sure for hair and skin health, and I think even gut health. I mean, we need good fat. So may it be, soaked nuts and seeds, avocado. Just make sure you incorporate good fats.
A skincare line that's good for sensitive eczema skin.
For the face, I would say if you're going to be indoors and you're at home, I would say coconut oil would be a good option because it is cooling. For my daughter, again, I've used a product from India. You don't get it in the US, and it's again from a company called Forest Essentials, and it's actually from a teen line. They have a teen line for teens. Yeah, so they have a tween and teen line, and so I've been using that for her face now. But before, when she had full-blown eczema, what worked was correcting her constipation. Warm water in the morning. In the night, I give her, both my girls now, even though my younger one doesn't have any issues with eczema, I warm a little bit of milk. I put like half a teaspoon of ghee in it, a pinch of turmeric in it, and I have them drink it. And that really helped correcting her constipation.
Otherwise, Suchita, any last suggestion?
The skin is the largest organ in our body. Feed it with things that you would put in your mouth, because our skin is eating everything and it is going into our body.
A lot of the stuff that we put on our skins, the creams, you can't eat them. So should one not be using them?
You shouldn't be using them. And that's why whatever I mentioned today, they're all clean products.
Thank you, Suchita. It was amazing talking to you.
Thank you for listening to this chat. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe to this page. Please subscribe to our podcast on Apple and Spotify, Wellness Curated, and follow us on Instagram, Wellness Curated, the number 1. Thank you.